The room was quiet, too quiet for a government hearing that had been advertised as routine. Reporters shuffled their notes, the fluorescent lights hummed, and in the center sat Governor Kristi Noem, her expression calm but firm. Across from her, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. leaned back in his chair, eyes steady, as if he knew something everyone else in the room had forgotten. The issue on the table seemed small: an environmental fine levied against a family-owned dairy farm in South Dakota for waterway misuse. But what no one realized, at least not yet, was that this would become a national moment, a clash of ideals about what government should be, and what freedom really means. The farmer, Joe Lindstrom, was a third-generation dairyman. He stood in the back of the room, hat in hand, shoulders heavy. His land had been his grandfather's, a patch of grass and mud and love where kids grew up learning how to milk cows before they could read. But a state inspector had found trace runoff, just trace, and the fine? $50,000. For Joe, it might as well have been $50 million. Kennedy had been invited as an observer, but when Joe's voice broke during his testimony, something shifted. "I tried," Joe said, his voice trembling. "We fixed the drainage, we built new barriers. But they told us the paperwork was late. I'm not trying to break the law. I'm just trying to feed my family." The silence that followed was thick. And then, Governor Noem leaned forward. Her voice was calm, almost cold in its precision. "Mr. Lindstrom, I sympathize. But it's not government's job to bail people out from consequences. If we start picking winners and losers, we stop being fair." The words echoed. "That's not government's job." Kennedy looked down at his notes, then slowly rose to his feet. His voice, when it came, was quiet but resonant. "Governor," he said, "you're right, maybe it's not government's job to bail people out. But it is government's job to remember who it serves. The moment we start treating ordinary Americans like statistics instead of souls, we've lost something deeper than fairness. We've lost our heart." Reporters scribbled furiously. The room crackled with tension. Noem didn't flinch. "We all have to live by the same rules, Mr. Kennedy. The fine stands." Kennedy looked over at Joe, whose eyes were glassy with disbelief. Then, slowly, he reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope, thick, heavy, and worn from use. He walked to the front of the room, placed it on the clerk's desk, and said evenly, "Then I'll pay it." The clerk blinked. "Sir, all of it?" Kennedy nodded. "All of it. In singles." The crowd gasped, thinking it was a joke. But it wasn't. The next morning, a flatbed truck rolled up to the state revenue office in Pierre, loaded with $50,001 bills, each one stacked neatly in boxes marked "Property of the People." The story exploded overnight. Cameras swarmed. The symbolism was impossible to miss. $1 F.